is the Group of Five guys. Our mission and our goal is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs that our friends at the mainstream sports media refuse to do. We need your help to do that. We need you to go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, subscribe to the channel, give us a 5-star rating and review. Most importantly, tell your family and friends all about us. You can follow us on all the social media platforms at Group of Five Guys, or you can go to groupof5guys.com and get you some Group of Five Guys swag. On this episode of Inside Drill with Group of Five Guys, we've got now leading by a decent margin. We've got App State head coach Shawn Clark coming off a big win at home versus Marshall and getting ready for another huge conference game on the road in Atlanta versus Georgia State. Enjoy the show. Expanding on his lead as being the leading coach to come on the Group of Five Guys podcast, coming off a gigantic conference win over Marshall, App State head coach Shawn Clark. Coach, first of all, thank you for coming on. Second of all, congrats on a big-time win this week, man.
No, I appreciate you guys having me on. I always enjoy coming to talk with you guys, and you guys represent the Group of Five, man, and it's awesome. And like you mentioned, it was a big win for us versus a rival, and that game goes back to the Southern Conference days and back in the 80s to it was 96 last time we played them in the Southern Conference. So a big win, and of course, me being from the Charleston area, 45 minutes from Huntington, I know all about the history of their program, and just a great win for our team, and really propels us to have a chance to make a run this in the Sun Belt East.
Coach, how good is this conference right now? I mean, every week we think we got it figured out. We think there's a new favorite, or we think it's, somebody's got this conference on lock. And then every week somebody beats somebody. And I mean, right now you got 3 teams with 2 losses in the conference, and you got another 2 or 3 with 3 losses. How good is this conference, especially the East right now?
It's fantastic. I mean, it's a meat grinder, even the East and the West, but especially in the East, it's going to take 3 weeks for this to figure out what happens. And you look for us, for example, we've lost a game. All of our games we've lost within by 1 score. And we lose to Coastal by 3, and you go down and you beat Monroe on a walk-off field goal, and lose to Old Dominion up there, and they have a great program. And even in saying that, we had a chance to win. We had the ball with 45 seconds left in the game, and took the ball all the way down and had 2 shots to the end zone. So it's a fun conference. It's a meat grinder, but it'll play us well the next few weeks.
Do y'all? I know we do. I know the fans do, but you got anybody on staff that's doing the calculations, doing the tiebreakers, and say, hey, coach, if we beat Marshall and Georgia Southern loses here and Georgia State does this, do you got anybody that does that, or are y'all just playing?
We haven't yet. Again, it's so. I mean, you look at it. If you're not on your A game every single week, it really won't matter. So we know in order for us to have a chance to make a run to this thing, we have to beat Georgia State in Atlanta. And Coach Elliott's done a great job with his program, and they're playing at a high level. They ran to a buzzsaw versus James Madison. But man, they were playing great on all three phases of the game right now. Their offense with Granger. I mean, he's dynamic. He can beat with his arm. He can beat with his feet. And then their defense, man, they have some guys on defense.
Coach, the offense is ranked actually second in the Sun Belt right now. I don't think a lot of people realize that in yards per game. And especially the last 4 games, Joey Aguilar has played really, really well. 11 touchdowns, 1 interception. He has put it on the ground a couple of times. What's kind of your take on him and how he's been playing?
Well, that's Joey. I mean, we call him California Joey around here because nothing seems to faze him. He has a very strong arm. He's very confident in the throws he can make. And if he's getting better, and people forget this is only his 9th game playing Division I football, and he keeps improving week in and week out, and really just his progressions and getting rid of the ball quick. And we've talked about it, end every possession with a kick. Sometimes it's okay to throw the ball away, and he's learned those things. And he's spreading the ball around. This past week, 9 different receivers caught the ball, and 2 receivers caught their first touchdown pass at App State. So if he keeps improving, if we can keep him upright in the pocket and give him a chance to throw the ball, then we feel very confident where we are right now.
Coach, on the other side of the ball, I heard you on your coach's show earlier talking about limiting the big plays, and you were able to do that this week, and that's something that you hadn't been able to do really well earlier in the year. Just talk about how the progression of the season, how you've gotten your defense to play in the way that, we've come to know the App State defense to be over the years.
Yeah, it's in our defense. If you fit the run the wrong way, that's recipe for disaster. And people don't realize this. We're very young on defense. We only have two seniors on our team on defense. We have a lot of freshmen, true freshmen, and redshirt freshmen are playing right now. So that's been our Achilles heel of stopping the run and getting explosive plays. And this week, our guys did a great job of, really getting downhill and filling their gaps. And with Ali from Marshall, and he's a handful. And we were worried about that, but our guys played hard and filled their gaps the right way. And we played better in the secondary. We had 3 turnovers on defense. And anytime you can be plus 3 in the turnover margin and really good and capitalize on offense, man, that's playing complementary football. So we got to make sure we're peaking at the right time, and the time is now.
I might be frozen here, Jeff, but
you're good.
Coach, so you got 3 games left. You don't have anybody yet doing the calculations, doing the scoreboard watching. What are you looking for? What are you looking for out of your team going into Atlanta? Like you said, it's a tough environment, and you guys, you really control your own destiny, so you just got to win. But what are you looking for in particular in this game this week?
Well, we have to keep improving, and that's what we've done all year long. And our mantra is keep digging, because we've been so close in so many games, and things don't work out the way you want to. But that doesn't take away from our football team. We got great players. Just really go out and play with some emotion and enthusiasm. If you could have been here this past Saturday against Marshall, man, our sidelines were electric, and they're playing for something, and that's important here at App State to play for championships. And it didn't start the way we wanted to, but our guys have been consistent. They play for each other. Now we're sitting right here in a spot now and play complimentary football. We have a chance to win in Atlanta.
I like it. Well, not that we're not rooting for we're rooting for everybody, but Coach, you've been awesome to us, so we're always rooting for you, always rooting for App State. Hope we can get a chance to catch y'all at some point this year. I don't know, it's a little late. We might not be able to get our annual trip to Boone. Maybe if something plays out, you never know. You might have somebody out west lose a couple games. You guys win the rest of them. Hell, I would like nothing more than to get up there and stay in the mountains for a couple nights early in December.
You need to, because, man, you guys became a national treasure here in Boone. Everybody's asking about you guys when you're coming back, and I know people at the L House are excited when we mention your name. So we'd love to have you back up here. It means a lot to us to you put our program out there on your stage. And again, thanks again all you do for the Group of 5.
No, we appreciate you, and possibly pencil in that last game of the season against Georgia Southern at home. That could be for the East title. Who knows? Who knows?
No, Jeff, that's rat poison. We're
right.
talking about this
You're
weekend in Atlanta. Yeah, we might. I mean, we'd love to get up there. It might be a little cold for me anyway, but that's how it was cold. We went to that Marshall game 2 years ago. It was like October. It was freezing.
Yeah.
But man. We'd love nothing more, Coach. You're starting to run it up. You're running up the score here on the rest of the coaches in the Group of 5 coming on the show. We appreciate it, as always. App State head coach Shawn Clark. Coach, good luck on Saturday.
I appreciate you guys having me on, and I look forward to seeing you in Boone soon.
Well, Jeff, it's almost like you got to let a season play out a little bit before you start getting all up in arms about firing or hiring or extending a coach, because they got everything right in front of them in Boone right now.
Yeah, they do. And, they played a lot better the last 2 weeks, got those wins, especially against, I know the record doesn't show it, and Clark alluded to it, but a really good Marshall team. And they came out and they played, pretty much mistake-free football, took that game and ran away with it. Huge win for them. Now they got, a big test of the last 3 weeks of the season really coming up. At Georgia State, at James Madison, and then the final game at home against Georgia Southern. So it's a tough 3-game stretch, but they're playing good ball right now. So, and that's kind of what you need at this time of the year. Who's playing, the best football at the right time? Might be App State, and like you said, they got everything in front of them. I mean, especially in this conference, you can't fly off the handle as like a fan in the middle of this season, because you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you don't know. And, like you said, their schedule's tough. I mean, that final week where they're at home versus Georgia Southern has the potential to be a Sun Belt East championship game, pending what happens the rest of the way. You got App State, Georgia Southern, and Coastal all sitting there tied. Now, Coastal has the win over App. Georgia Southern has the win over Coastal. So depending on what happens that final week, and then you got Georgia State, you got Old Dominion still sitting there with just one extra loss. Coastal and App State still play James Madison. So I mean, we've been saying it all year now. This conference is going to have a 3 or 4 loss team in the championship game, and it could be App State, it might not be, but either way, you can't. I don't know, this conference especially, it's so evenly matched that all of these, you get a bad bounce here or a bad call there, a drop pass, a bad turnover, like those are what's costing the games. And now, Coach Clark talked about it being a young team. And so part of that, part of the struggles earlier in the year, maybe it was just guys haven't had enough reps yet. And so we'll see what happens in these last couple of weeks, but I cannot wait to see the final result. I can't wait to see all of these games because it's, we've been talking about it on the show on Tuesdays. Everybody's desperate right now. Everybody's in a must-win situation every week right now. So it's going to be interesting to see which teams are able to control that emotion and all of that and put together a solid, mistake-free game.
Yeah, and that's really what it's going to come down to. We say it all the time. A lot of these games come down to 2 or 3 big plays in the game. So it's who can, play that cleanest football, no turnovers or limit your turnovers, win that margin, and then just play smart, man, down the stretch late in these games. Don't have stupid penalties. Got to be able to tackle well, especially in this conference. But yeah, like you said, there's every team is fighting right now, especially in the East, to just have a chance to play in that championship game. So it's going to be awesome to watch.
Well, and before we go, just because it is relevant to App State because they play them later in the year, but James Madison's starting to get bit by the injury bug a little bit, Jeff. And that's the other thing that we talk about at every level of football, but especially at the Group of 5 level, and especially in a conference like this one where it's so evenly matched. I mean, James Madison seems like they've been a bit better than everybody else, but now they're going to lose their best guy on defense in Jalen Green. They got some offensive linemen that have been out. So, does it catch up to them, or do they still keep, are they able to run the table? But some of these teams, it's like that too. An injury to a starting offensive lineman or defensive lineman could be absolutely catastrophic for one of these teams. So that's part of it too, is who's healthy this time of year when all of these games matter. So really looking forward to it. But man, Coach Clark, App State, again, can't thank you enough for supporting our show, supporting what we do. We don't got a lot of time, but we hope we can get to Boone. We hope we can have a reason to get to Boone, Jeff, is the main thing.
Absolutely.
But I got no doubt if we don't get up there this year, we'll definitely be up there next fall. I would venture to say. But Coach, thank you again for coming on. If you guys enjoy the show, you can catch us live every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, and every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern for a pregame show. And then we'll sprinkle in some of these Inside Drill episodes when we can. If you enjoy the show, we need you to follow us on all the social platforms at Group of 5 Guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. Subscribe to the channel. That's the best thing you could do to help us grow this thing. Tell your family and friends all about us. Leave us a 5-star rating and review, or you can go to group5guys.com and get you some swag. That's all we got for you tonight. We'll catch you later in the week.